Welcome back to Focus on Africa. Now, at the age of 21, most of us are still pondering what to do in life. But for Tony Fola Alade, not so. As if completing his studies at Cambridge University wasn't enough, he also co-founded a fintech company. So that was 3 years ago. He's moved on and joined forces with two fellow entrepreneurs to create DoGood Africa. It's a project led by the youth, for the youth, not only providing free education for 350 children, it's also created jobs within local communities in Nigeria. The BBC's Priscilla Koinange sat down with him.
Are you ready to sing with me?
We are funded and built our first school in Makoko, which is a slum community in Lagos, which is the largest city in Nigeria. And it's primarily, we fully fund the education of 350 primary school children, so ages 5 to kind of 12. And then we've also funded some other schools in northern Nigeria through some of our local impact projects. The cost of the teacher salaries are covered, the uniforms, the textbooks, the actual schooling itself is all fully covered by the foundation.
A 24-year-old who lives in London, who has one school funded in Nigeria, another one built from scratch. What was your inspiration? Why schools?
I think in terms of at an organizational level, I think for us, education is the best investment that you can make in terms of, changing people's lives on a personal level, but also really, developing the long-term potential of an economy. I think on a more personal level, I moved to Nigeria to start my first startup when I was 21. And I was just really, shocked by the amount of young people who were hungry and wanted to find an opportunity, but didn't necessarily have the skills match. And then I guess personally, living in Nigeria for the first time, I was really inspired by, the personal story of, my parents had made huge sacrifices to send me to Harrow School and to go to Cambridge, which kind of put me on the trajectory to do this. But both of my grandfathers had a very interesting educational story. On my mum's side, my grandfather didn't get educated past the age of 11, but through a consistent commitment to self-education, built one of the largest businesses in Nigeria. And then on my dad's side of the family, it was a very different story. He was, in the first class of architects to graduate in West Africa, and then grew to be the chief national architect around Nigeria's independence, and really helped build the built architecture of Lagos.
And have you come across any obstacles building the schools? Because I know you mentioned one of your schools is located in northern Nigeria, where there's some insecurity going on at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for us, I think building the right local partnerships is so key. So we're, really grateful for the relationships we have with the leadership in the local community in Makoko, which makes it easier for us to kind of build. There's always an education piece that you have to do with the parents to make them understand the benefits of having the kids in school as opposed to working. I mean, there's at least 11 million children across Nigeria, primary school age, that are not in school. In the north, where we fund and partner with schools, again, we lean on our local charities and foundations that we fund and support who have great relationships in their community to make that work possible. It's really important for us, for the community, to have ownership of the project and to be our partners in delivering. So we have, big ambitions to scale across Nigeria, across all of the geopolitical zones, and across West Africa and hopefully across the continent. But it's really important for us to do it hand in hand with those communities and not do it as outsiders who are imposing or imposing. And I think when you take that approach, it makes overcoming obstacles, insecurity, cultural bias a lot easier.